The journey to the cross should be the last useless journey. I'm going to do another golden moment in A Course in Miracles. I've been reading from this book, Simply A Course in Miracles by Alao Alani. This is my pen name. I put together this book kind of as a primer or as a guide for those who are kind of new to A Course in Miracles. Actually, this book might be helpful to anyone who is a student of A Course in Miracles, because you just get another perspective on things. I think other perspectives are good. Ultimately, though, you have to come to your own decision about what the Course means, what it says. I do feel that there are what the Course calls the teachers of teachers. I'm not saying I am one, but there are great teachers of A Course in Miracles that have really engaged with it, really practiced it, really studied it, and you know, I think it's wise to listen to those people, without claiming that I am one, but you know, that's up to you whether you think I am or not. Obviously, I must think I know something because I'm doing these videos, right? But I know what I know, and I hope I'm not leading anyone astray. But at the same time, I keep saying again and again that ultimately you have to engage with the Course on your own, right? Whatever I'm saying is just to help you to you know, better engage with it on your own. So I hope you understand that. So let's read this. This is a really cool passage, famous passage, also kind of a controversial passage, which I'll explain why in a moment. I call it the journey to the cross. Okay? Do not embark on useless journeys, because they are indeed in vain. The ego may desire them, but spirit cannot embark on them, because it is forever unwilling to depart from its foundation. The journey to the cross should be the last, quote, useless journey, unquote. Do not dwell upon it, but dismiss it as accomplished. If you can accept it as your own last useless journey, you are also free to join my resurrection. Do not make the pathetic error of, quote, clinging to the old rugged cross, unquote. The only message of the crucifixion is that you can overcome the cross. Until then, you are free to crucify yourself as often as you choose. This is not the gospel I intended to offer you. This is a very interesting passage. This is from chapter 4 of the text. This is one of the early chapters. Remember that the first 5 or so chapters had a lot of material that was not kept, right? There was a lot of material that came through in this first 5 chapters. There's like 31 chapters of the text, right? The first 5 chapters had a lot of material that was more specific to Helen and Bill, and it ultimately got taken out of the Course. And now there is online and on Amazon the text and other editions of the Course that keep in some of that material. The text has, I think, all of the material. Well, maybe not all the material. You probably have to go back to Helen's handwritten notes. But the thing about Helen's handwritten notes, I think, is that I don't think she necessarily wrote everything down. I think some of the things she might have dictated directly to Bill. So I don't know. You know, I think this whole thing about trying to figure out what was actually the pure Course that was like what Helen received originally from Jesus. It's a difficult. You'd have to really do some really great investigative research. I'm not sure how many people have actually done that, but that's kind of besides the point at this point. But let's read this again. We'll talk about it. Okay, so do not embark on useless journeys, because they are indeed in vain. the ego may desire them, but spirit cannot embark on them. And spirit here is lowercase s, which is interesting. It doesn't use a capital S, but spirit cannot embark on them. The ego is always lowercase, right? Lowercase e. Because it is forever unwilling to depart from its foundation, and the foundation has a capital F. That's interesting. Right, spirit does not embark on useless journeys. What is the useless journey that it's talking about? The ego embarks on many useless journeys. The journey to the cross should be the last useless journey, and in quotations. Why is the journey to the cross a useless journey? Because what Jesus is talking about, what is he talking about? He's talking about crucifying yourself. That's what the ego does all the time, right? The ego is constantly crucifying itself, right? Because that's what the ego is all about. Whereas what is spirit all about? Spirit is all about resurrection, right? The spirit is all about the resurrection of the Son of God, whereas the ego is all about the crucifixion of the Son of God. And that is the useless journey that Jesus is talking about. Now, I've seen, at least several videos of Christian, maybe fundamentalists, or sometimes it's Christian evangelicals or people that studied the Course even, and some people who have claimed to have studied it for years, and then they go back. They have like a born again experience or whatever, and then they criticize the course, and they call it demonic, or they call it, the Antichrist. And they point to this passage. This is one of the passages that they point to, and they say, wow, this is saying the journey to the cross should be the last useless journey. That is blasphemous, right, to say that. Because what is Christianity based on except, if not the crucifixion of Christ? Do not dwell upon it, but dismiss it as accomplished. What does that mean? Do not dwell upon it, but dismiss it as accomplished. That means that Jesus was crucified, and in that crucifixion, what was really the resurrection, right? That Jesus did not suffer on the cross, and Jesus used that, according to the Course. This is what the Course says, is that Jesus used that as a teaching device, right? The crucifixion was to show that the Son does not need ever to suffer, that the Son is always free, that the Son is always one with the Father, always one, is never separate. And so suffering is an illusion, and that is what Jesus taught with the crucifixion. And because Jesus showed that journey does not need to be taken anymore, right? We do not need to continue to crucify the Son, right, on any level, but rather we now what we need to do is actually understand that it's already been done, right? That Jesus already accomplished it. Jesus already showed the way. What do we need to do? We need to accept that is the truth. That is what we need to do. And if we continue to crucify ourselves on whatever level we do, it shows that we are not accepting that and that we are resisting that. Let's go on. If you can accept it as your own last useless journey, and remember that you are not separate from Jesus, you are one and the same. Jesus is not different than you. You are equally the Son of God. If you can accept it as your own last useless journey, you are also free to join my resurrection. It's a very beautiful idea. Anyone that puts this down does not understand it. And that's what I would say about the people that criticize this. They just don't understand it, right? If you can accept it as your own last useless journey, you are also free to join my resurrection by accepting that suffering is not real. You do not need to suffer. You do not need to keep going through whatever crucifixion that you are choosing, because you are following the ego thought system, and that is why you are crucifying yourself. You do not need to do that, but rather you can just accept the simple fact that it's already been done, right? And let it now be undone. Let the ego be undone, and let all of the clouds and the illusions fade. Let the ego fade into the nothingness from which it came and which it really is. And let crucifixion be no more. Right? I also like to think about the this kind of, not it's definitely related, but it's a little bit kind of idiosyncratic on my part. But the word cross, we talk about being cross with someone as being angry, right? And in a sense, that's what Jesus is saying, is that you don't need to be angry, right? The anger is never justified. Don't try to justify it. Don't try to make it real. Don't think that your anger is righteous in any way. Now, I heard someone yesterday in a video say, righteous indignation is okay. I think it's, in a sense, it's okay when there are injustices being done, and maybe you want to speak up about it. Just don't make it real. Don't take it too seriously, right? You can be righteously indignant and not bring suffering as a result. Perhaps, I don't know, but it's really when you take the anger seriously that you suffer and others suffer as a result of that. And we know what that looks like. We know what anger that that really hurts looks like. And we know what anger that can be helpful looks like as well. I don't think many people really can, you could say like a great guru maybe gets angry and it's a great teaching on their part. I don't think most people can. I think most people, when they get angry, they really get angry and they take it seriously and they can't control it. So that, but anyway, that was kind of a tangent. But do not make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. And this is in quotations. This is actually a song. Like Jesus actually is referencing a song, like a contemporary song called the old rugged, that uses that line, the old rugged cross. Do not make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. So Jesus is actually referencing a song, which is, and this is a song that Helen knew. And the song is about clinging to the old rugged cross, and Jesus is saying, don't make the pathetic error. This is pathetic to cling to think that the crucifixion, to keep crucifying yourself. You don't want to keep doing that. The only message of the crucifixion is that you can overcome the cross. Until then, you are free to crucify yourself as often as you choose. Like, go ahead, be my guest. If you want to crucify yourself, that's fine. And I'm not going to, and Jesus doesn't judge you for that. And Jesus does not condemn you for that. But rather, Jesus just says, but you don't have to, right? You really don't have to. I'm telling you, you're just causing your own suffering. You are reinforcing the ego, and that's not gonna bring you to the goal of knowing yourself, knowing your true self, knowing your loving self, because you're going to be stuck in your ego. So go ahead, crucify yourself as many times as you like, but just know that you don't have to. And I've showed you, that you don't have to, right? That it's not necessary, and that suffering is not real. Crucifixion ultimately Even the worst form of crucifixion is possible to be in a place of complete forgiveness even while being crucified. This is not the gospel I intended to offer you. This is interesting because Jesus does not use the word gospel too much in the course. This is one of the few times where he uses that word gospel. It's not the gospel I intended to offer you. I think this is a correction. This is a correction to Christianity, to traditional, let's call it traditional Christianity, maybe fundamentalist Christianity, which does tend to put a lot of emphasis on the crucifixion. But Jesus in the Course really is putting the emphasis on the resurrection and saying, basically, like I said before, the ego is all about crucifixion. The Holy Spirit is all about the resurrection. And you do not want to keep choosing crucifixion, but you want to choose the resurrection. So Jesus was not, basically, Jesus did not suffer. The Gospels that suggest that Jesus did suffer, that was a mistake. That was something to be corrected, and Jesus is correcting it by saying, I did not suffer. You do not have to suffer. Like I said, even while being crucified, even the worst form of crucifixion, you can still be in that place of complete forgiveness and the complete awareness of love's presence. And I did that, and so can you, because you are not different than me. You are the same as me. So I hope this was helpful today. Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments. The journey to the cross should be the last useless journey. Amen. And I'll see you very soon. Thank you.